It is nice to have a choir in the building, yes. Thank you so much. Well, hi, it's good to see you. It's been a while. Thank you. It's good to be back. Thank you. Thank you so much. I missed you guys, and I'm glad to be back and able to be with you today. Although I've got to keep my comments short. The first service went a little long. So, I'm not going to have much of a role in it today. So next week I'll do a lot of blabbing, but I'll try to curtail myself this morning so you can enjoy what is a very special service for us, our partner church service, our annual partner church service, celebrating an amazing 32-year relationship with a community across the waters that really defines and exemplifies what it means to be part of a global community and how we should treat one another and be with one another, especially in an age where at a time where some think we should go turn the clock backwards and go back to a time where we were hiding behind iron curtains and blockades and those sort of things. So we're here to celebrate human community, our common humanity, our relationship with our brothers and sisters everywhere today. That's what this is about. So I'm not going to give the usual opening words today about our mission statement and all that. We'll return to that next week. But I do want to, again, welcome everybody who is in the room with us, those of you who we haven't seen for a while, some who haven't been with us before. We're so glad to have you today, as well as all of those who are streaming with us today. It's always fantastic knowing you're there. There are always at least as many people, if not more, streaming live with us, and you're a really important part of our community, and we never want to forget that you are here with us as well. So welcome to one and all, whether you are with us remotely or in person today. I do have a couple of announcements I want to make before we move forward. One is to let you know on March 20th, that's a couple of Sundays from now, we are going to include a new member welcoming ritual in our service. And this is going to be for folks who have joined during the past couple of years during the pandemic in which we have not been able to do this. So if you've joined in the past couple of years, hopefully someone will be reaching out to you, but we want you to be part of that service. If you are one of our members that has officially joined and you live in a remote part of the state or the country and you're not able to make it in person, obviously, we're going to seek you out for a photograph so we can put it up on our screen and introduce you to the congregation that way. So that'll be the 20th. If you haven't officially joined yet and you've been thinking about it, do let us know before then so you can participate in that very special ritual. Okay, this is again Partner Church Sunday, and I want to especially welcome and greet those who are observing our service, who are at our partner church in Felshorokos, what is officially Romania. They might prefer I say Transylvania or Hungary. So again, we've gotten to know you a lot over the past 32 years. A lot of us have been there. Some of you have been here. We're going to continue that relationship, and we're so glad to celebrate our relationship at least once a year together during similar services. So thank you all so much. You're going to get to see Reverend Palco in a little bit in a nice video he sent. We're not going to be able to show that entire video because it's a bit long. He was very generous, gave us an entire service, but we are going to post it on our website and send you a link so that you can watch it at your leisure. But you will get to see a little bit of Reverend Palco in a little bit. And then finally, well, I should ask, are there still Hungarian cookies left? Are we sold out? There are. Okay, good. Before I make this announcement. And I mean, they have wonderful food and incredible cookies. So there's some traditional Hungarian cookies that'll be on the table in the back. They are asking for donations, and those will help go to support some of the programs at our partner church in Felshorokos, including the women's group and youth group projects. So you can feel good about indulging in some sweets today. Okay, again, we did go a little bit long for the first service. I'm trying to edit that down. Not doing a very good job of it already. But I'm going to actually skip the welcoming of one another this morning and let you do more of that during our social period and just move forward with the next part of our service, which is our chalice lighting. The chalice is a symbol of our faith. It is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It is a symbol of our unity and our solidarity, of our openness and our inclusion, of our community and our individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need, and may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt wherever it's been found. Deb, we'll move right into our singing together.
Oh, sorry. Get my glasses these days. We're going to sing one that is very familiar to us that we like. It's 346, Come Sing a Song With Me. And for those of you that may not know this, we shared this song early on with our partnership church in Fellshaw-Rockers. And they learned how to sing it in English, and I got to hear them do that. So please stand as you're willing and able to sing 346. Come sing a song with me.
We will now kindle our candles of care for those who are most on our hearts and minds this morning. And I want to begin with a candle for church member Joanne Bailey. Joanne is currently in ICU after suffering from a heart condition earlier this week. I did speak with her partner Jan, or her spouse really, Jan, this morning. And things are looking better than they did on Friday. So we'll continue to keep them in our thoughts and in our hearts at this time. Also for a good friend of our church, a good friend of mine, the Reverend Happy Watkins. He is still suffering from terrible pain from sciatica that has developed in his life, and called and asked for us to light a candle for him. He also asked that we light a candle celebrating his grandson Ephraim Watkins' academic accomplishments. He is currently the class president of Gonzaga Preparatory School and has been invited to tour Brown University, Boston University, and Yale University. So, yes. And we kindle a candle, of course, for our brothers and sisters in the Ukraine and in Russia and that part of the world who are suffering senseless hostility and violence at this time. Let's take a moment of silence on behalf of others, and as always, you're welcome to name them aloud at this time if you'd like. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence and all those who are suffering in our world at this hour, we hold in our community with compassion. And we are now going to have our morning offering, and this is a day to announce our March special collection. And as you may have guessed, it supports the 32-year partnership we've had between our church and the Unitarian Church of Fel Shirakos. The funds are going to be given, or used, I should say, by their women's group to aid village families in need, and also by their youth group for some of their programs and continuing to improve their meeting room. You're going to get to look at that in a little bit. And for some repair to the church roof after a lightning strike there. As always, you can if you want to contribute to this monthly special offering, you can use the envelope that was in your order of service. No need to seal it. We'll use it again later. So thank you so much for your kindness and generosity. We now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which helps sustain this community and our mission to the larger world.
Glory, glory. Good morning. As this is an intergenerational service, there will be no children's chapel today, but I would love to invite any children up front for our Time for All Ages, especially our featured actors. Come on up, you'll get a front row view of our play. Today we have a play about King John Sigismund, the only Unitarian king. And this was adapted from the story A Unitarian King from a book by Janine Grossmeyer. Dimitri, do you want to sit down next to Lachlan? Our story takes place in the mid-1500s in the country of Hungary.
I'm Queen Isabella of Hungary. I've just had a baby. My husband, King John, is away fighting. Hungary is such a sad place to live right now. Everyone is fighting. My husband fights with kings from other countries. Groups of people within Hungary are fighting with other groups of people. A lot of the warring is about religion. I wish King John would stop fighting and come home to see our baby. I wish people would talk about their differences instead of trying to kill each other over them.
Unfortunately, King John died just 2 weeks after the baby was born. He never saw his son. Little baby, Prince John Sigismund, became the new king of Hungary. Well, King John Sigismund was obviously way too young to rule the country. Kings from other countries took most of Hungary away from John Sigismund and kept it for themselves.
I'm taking my baby to live in a small corner of the kingdom called Transylvania. I will teach him to be a wise ruler, and I will help him put an end to all the fighting.
While the young king was growing up, the wars continued. In Transylvania, the followers of different religions kept fighting with each other. Queen Isabella died when John Sigismund was 19 years old. It was now all up to him to stop the wars.
What should we do? How can we stop the fighting?
One king, one country, one religion. Just as they do in France and Spain, you must choose one religion for Transylvania. Everyone will have to follow it, and then you will have no more fighting.
I don't know. You know, my dear mother taught me that people should try to solve their differences by talking. I wonder, what if I invite people from different religions to my court and talk together?
And that's just what he did. King John Sigismund invited a number of preachers to his court for a conversation about religion.
I'm a Catholic priest. I'm a Lutheran preacher. I'm a Greek Orthodox preacher.
I'm Francis Edney. I'm a Christian who believes that God is one, not three. Since I think God is unity, not a trinity, some people call me a Unitarian.
Of course, preachers are great talkers. They talked on and on for days. Sometimes they argued, but they didn't fight.
Wow, I'm really impressed with Francis David, the Unitarian. He makes a lot of sense to me. I think I'm going to be a Unitarian too.
I said one king, one country, one religion.
I say we need not think alike.
One king, one country, one religion.
We need not think alike.
Well, I could do what the noble suggests, make everyone in Transylvania become Unitarian, like Francis David and me. But one of the things I like best about Francis David is that he says we don't all need to think alike.
King John Sigismund thought hard about what to do. He was still just a young man, and he had a big decision to make. Should he demand that everyone practice the religion that he had chosen for his own, or should he let everyone choose for themselves?
I hereby issue the Edict of Religion Toleration. I proclaim that every person can follow the religion of their choosing. No one shall be revealed for their religion by anyone else. Francis David, I invite you to remain here to be my court preacher.
This is not quite a happily ever after story. King John Sigismund died at age 31 following a carriage accident. After his death, Unitarians were not always tolerated. Francis David was eventually imprisoned for his ideas, and he died in a dungeon. But because of King John Sigismund and Francis David, Unitarianism took hold in Transylvania, where it remains strong today. Unitarianism began with beliefs about the unity of God and also came to stand for religious freedom and tolerance. Thank you.
Now it is time for our meditation. We will have a musical meditation today. I invite you to make yourselves as comfortable as possible. Close your eyes if you wish, and take a listen.
As I mentioned earlier, Reverend Palco, the minister in Felshiracos, was kind enough to send us some videos. You're going to get to see a bit of those coming up, but he put together an entire service in their tradition for us, which included hymns and scripture readings and prayers and a sermon. So we don't have time to show you all of that, and again are going to put it online for you. But we had hoped to have Reverend Palco and his spouse Oshi here some years ago, just before COVID hit, and so we weren't able to do that. So many of you have not yet had the opportunity to meet the newest minister at our partner church, but he's just a wonderful human being. A lot of us have met him, and his English is pretty good, but you'll have to listen closely in order to hear what he has to say. And we're going to give you just a sample of the start of this service that he put together for you as a way of letting you get to know him just a bit during this service.
Welcome everyone from here, from the Unitarian Parish of Felshiracos. I also greet all the church members in Spokane and Westminster. With warmth, we can pray together, we can sing together, and seek God's providence today with the help of the Word. Come and look for the closeness of God with a song. Let's sing a song 16 of the Unitarian Hungarian songbook, which begins Megpihenni, megnyugodni. Megpihenni, megnyugodni, hozzád jöttünk, Istenünk, mert a harcban újabb erőt csak te nálad lelhetünk. Bűnös fejünk porba hajtva, megremegve, s megnyugodva, tekintünk rá, Istenünk. Beloved sisters and brothers in Spokane and Westminster congregation, come, let us pray together. Eternal goodness and love, our God, sweet Father, at the whole of this peaceful prayer, we are seeking with you children's hearts, blessing and pressing you. And when you touch our hands, reach out to you, our souls are filled with the happiness of the children's finding its parents. We are ever looking for the meetings with you. That means again and again fulfillment of our soul, of our morality, and of our feelings. You are always with us. Our joy and happiness is eternal. You are our light, our bright source of light, and as long as we are with you, we are not afraid of the starless nights of darkness. That is why we ask for you, for your help, when we feel temptation prove about us, and believe that trusting you, we may gain victory over them. God Father, you know only well your children, the people. They become helpless before temptation, and they come to the impossibility of being ever under every circumstance human.
One of the best things about the partner-church relationship is the surprises. Just a few days ago, we got the first ever video made by the Felshiracos David Ferenc Youth Group. They're all speaking English, but it's a little hard to hear, so I'll give you a synopsis first. The young man that you see stoking the stove is the younger brother in the family that visited Spokane just a few years ago. They show their meeting room, which they have painted and decorated. They say that it's a warm place to chat, to watch films, to organize events and brainstorm. This year's events will be cleaning support beams. I'm going to have to find out what that is. Organizing Children's Day activities for the little ones, and litter pickup on Village Cleanup Day. They thank us for our support so they can improve the heating and finish paying for it. Enjoy.
This room was completely renovated 2 years ago. Everything has been painted and redecorated.
With your support, we can do a lot for a good renovation and comfort.
The outdoor room is waiting room where you can chat in the warmth.
The inner hall is a cinema room that also serves as a meeting room where you can organize events and brainstorm. Plans for the village this year include screenings of old films, Children's Day for the little ones, and litter picking to make the village cleaner.
We thank you for your support so that we can improve the hair and finance the cost.
Now I am delighted to welcome Allie and Hallie up to our stage. They are students at Sanders Studio of Dance, where they are learning a variety of dance styles, one of them being Hungarian character work. So they have a Hungarian-inspired dance to share with us all this morning.
Well, I guess I have a hard act to follow. Üregelt kívánok, or in other words, I wish you a good morning in Hungarian. Felsőrakos is a small farming village located in Transylvania. This is now part of Romania. Our journey there was enlightening and enjoyable. 3 things caught my attention on that trip. First was the Edict of Torda. Second was the constant contrast between old and new in everyday life. And third were just the plain friendly people of Romania. Edict of Torda. The first item that really caught my attention was Edict of Torda. I stepped off the bus with the other members of the tour group into a church I'd never heard of before. I found out quickly that this church is where the Edict of Torda was signed in 1568. The edict was the first document of religious freedom. At the very spot I was standing, history first turned the corner and started on that better path, the path of tolerance and reason. A growing seed of tolerance and freedom had been planted there in that very church. However, the next king that came along canceled that edict and stepped on that seed. But that seed of reason and freedom grew anyway. Despite many obstacles, that seed of tolerance grew into a mighty tree. One of those branches of that tree of religious freedom is here, the very spot you are sitting now. As I was standing there in Torda in 2015, I had that sudden sense of appreciation. Excuse me. I was like some immigrants who first sailed into New York Harbor and first saw the Statue of Liberty. At that moment, they suddenly realized the immensity of what they were beholding. This was an unexpected trip highlight for me. This was my Statue of Liberty moment. Second thing that caught my attention was the constant contrast. In these small Romanian villages, you can see that contrast in everyday life. For a 20th century American like myself, this contrast is often startling. Starting with the name of the towns. Many towns in Transylvania have two names. In fact, some have three. The first name is the old Hungarian name. Transylvania was originally part of Hungary, so Transylvania towns originally had Hungarian names. Makes sense? But you see the Hungarian name on the bottom of the sign? After World War I, Transylvania became part of Romania, so these towns now had Romanian names. But the old Hungarian name did not go away. And here you see both names on the same sign. Contrast 2, space-age satellite dishes and old horse-drawn carts. In 2010, I made my first trip to Felsherakas, Transylvania. When we first entered the town, I saw a shirtless gypsy riding on a horse-drawn cart, pulling a wagon load full of hay. Here you can see a horse-drawn cart. Of course, this one has logs, not hay. As we passed the gypsy, we were passing under a satellite dish. The gypsy was talking on a cell phone while a horse-drawn cart was slowly plodding along. As my eyes moved from one side of the road to the other, we had traveled through about 4 or 5 centuries of time, looking first at the ancient cart, then at the satellite dish, then at the cell phone. I found the contrast startling, but this is everyday life in a small village in Romania. Stone wheels. Later in the trip, we entered a water-powered old mill. Here, grain was ground by old round stone wheels like that. We went downstairs in the mill, and we saw a woman making woven items on a foot-powered loom, like that. The old wooden stove across the room didn't close too well, so it was held shut by a 2x4, with a Romanian equivalent of a 2x4. A water-powered mill, stone ground grain, foot-powered looms, old wooden stoves, and a computer terminal across the room. All in one small mill. Again, different items, different centuries, all in one spot, all part of everyday life. Farm Boy. We were introduced to a farmer who invited us into his home and yard. As we entered the yard, I walked past his modern tractor, but I soon discovered the farmer had a second way to power his farm work: a big, strong son and a bigger, stronger horse. Again, old and new, all part of the same scene. Seke gates. Many people in Transylvania have these elaborate gates. This is probably one of the more elaborate ones I've seen. These wooden works of art and craftsmanship are another example of old traditions in modern times. The third thing that caught my attention was the warm greeting from the people of Transylvania. They are warm and welcoming. Here you see Pastor Joseph greeting us with kind words and hugs, and the children. Even the small children in their own way seem to send us off with a warm goodbye, and I wish you could see the video. I cut this out of a video, but the children bouncing up and down and making us feel just wonderful. I believe the goal of the Partner Church Committee was to, one, to let us see the places where the cornerstones of our belief were founded, and two, to spread the hands across the waters to our friends a continent away. Conclusion: the distance from Spokane is about 5,700 miles, one ocean, and about 10 time zones. I believe we met these goals. We reached across the waters and touched the hand of our friends, and we saw where our beliefs had originated. Thank you. Hands across the water.
I came on board here in my job in 1989, and that, by coincidence, is also the year that Romania came out of the dictatorship that was going on for quite a while over there. During that time, Unitarian and Universalist churches did not have contact with the Unitarian churches over there. So as soon as that country stepped free of the dictatorship, things were in the works to start partnerships with those churches. We know that they were especially having a hard time. They had been living in a Romanian country, and they were a minority because they were actually Hungarian speakers, and they were living under lots of stress and strain. So in I think it was it Julie, was it 1990 that you went over there? 91, okay. So we were still in the old building that we were in on 8th Avenue when we started our partnership with our church in Felsharakas. I was really excited about it. I despaired of ever getting there, but I was very lucky later to be able to go over. At first we didn't have much for musical resources, but Julie and Jerry Jose were wonderful about bringing what they could. So for instance, you heard us sing Spirit of Life in English and Hungarian. That came from over there. And there were a few resources in our hymnal, but not much. You may have noticed that what we sang for the meditation was the same hymn tune that Reverend Palco used when he sang on the video. We didn't plan that, just happened that way. So that hymn tune is in our gray hymnal, and we did have that hymn tune. The words are different than what he sang, but we did use that because it came from Hungary. Finally, in about 2005, this book was published, our Turquoise Hymnal, and in it was a beautiful song. I was so happy to see one more resource. And if you can grab a copy near you, you can look at it. It is number 1043, Seke Aldash. And they do have a pronunciation guide. It's not as accurate as we would like. But with Julie's help, we learned to sing it phonetically. and we've been singing it for several years. So when I went over in 2015, it was very exciting to be over there, and beautiful. The village is a beautiful place, beautiful, green, gorgeous place, tile roofs. It's really breathtaking. They had built a guest house for visitors. And we were staying in the guest house, and in the basement of that guest house, they had made a dining room. And on the wall of that dining room, there was a plaque. And I, for some reason, went down into the dining room. There was nobody else in the room at that time. I don't know what I was even doing there. I can't remember. But there was a plaque on the wall. And I went over to it and looked at it, and it looked so familiar to me. And then it dawned on me, like a bolt of lightning, that was this blessing. And it also, the only people around were the cooks in the room to the side. And so I knocked on the door frame, and I can't speak Hungarian, darn it. But we were able to, I asked them about the plaque, and then their faces lit up. And it was, frankly, it was very exciting for me to find out that had special meaning in our village. And later, Julie explained to me that the people in our village are from the group of people, Seke people. And as you can tell, that's who wrote this blessing. So the choir would like to sing it for you. And if you want to keep looking at the hymnal, you can see. And in fact, I think I'm going to take just a minute here and read the English translation. Where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. And where there is God, there is no need.
Good morning. I'm Mary Lou Lewis. I'm a relatively new member of the Unitarian Church of Spokane. My former UU home was East Shore Unitarian in Bellevue, Washington. For a while, we had two partner churches, one in Tarasko St. George, TSG, in Romania, and one in the Khasi Hills of northern India outside Shillong. As members of West Shore Unitarian in West Seattle had been a part of the TSG group, they were eager to have a partner church. So East Shore relinquished TSG to them. But because of our personal connections with people in TSG, several of us from East Shore chose to continue to be a part of that group. And luckily, I now come with a third partner church, although I have yet to visit Bel Shiracos. What makes me want to be a partner? I firmly believe that there are certain elements which bind us together. For example, in TSG, I shared memories of World War II. Although the Nazis did not march through my village of Issaquah, and we did not hide our cattle and animals in the hills, there were other experiences we shared. How we hid certain supplies from authorities. How we cheated in rationing so we could feed our children. How we worried about our men on the front lines of battle. What have I learned from these women? They do not want war. Peace is what they wanted. In India, with approximately 152 recognized languages and 1,599 regional dialects, all national exams are given in English. So when we ask our partners what East Shore could do, what was their answer? A school where their children could be taught in English so they could compete on the national level and hopefully rise above being a subsistence farmer. I saw men who spoke no English because wives were at home with the children come to meetings to inquire about the educational program so their child or children would have opportunities not afforded to them. The look in their eyes was unforgettable. Please educate my child or children so there are better opportunities for them. With land provided by the village, East Shore paid for the materials to build a school. The labor was provided by the parents. Our friendship school now has about 100 students and goes from grade 4, nursery, to 5th grade. East Shore also provides scholarships, so all children who want to can participate. What do these proud subsistent farm families want for their children? An opportunity for a better life. And what do I want from these partnerships? Better understanding between people. I believe if we know who they are, if we celebrate them, understand their daily lives, their holidays, and special events, there is an increased possibility that there will be peace in the world.
Now please rise as you're willing and able to sing our closing hymn of the morning. It's number 159, This Is My Song.
Nations.
Benediction by André Moll. As we gather together, may we remember, when you share with me what is most important to you, that is where listening begins. When I show you that I hear you, when I say your life matters, that is where compassion begins. When I open the door to greet you, that is where hospitality begins. When I venture out to bring you to shelter, that is where love begins. When I risk my comfort to ease your suffering, when I act against hatred, violence, and injustice, that is where courage begins. When we experience the full presence of each other, because of our shared humanity, because of our differences, that is where holy gratitude begins. May this space be a table that is not complete until all are welcome. May this table be a space of beauty where together we create a series of miracles and where all that we share is sacred. May it be so.
Please join hands for shalom if you're comfortable with that. Shalom Haveri, Shalom Haveri, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Haveri, Shalom Haveri, Shalom, Shalom.